Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named I'm Done in the AITA subreddit. The post is titled, "Would I be the jerk if I told my late wife's family that she cheated on me? Anna, my late wife, died in a car accident. Someone lost control of their car, ran her over, and she passed away immediately. We were both 26 at the time. It was 4 years ago, right before the pandemic. We were having a bad time as a couple. She was extremely jealous of me and also very protective of her phone. Shortly after her death, I found out I had an STD, and surprise, surprise, she was cheating on me. On the day she passed, a guy we went to college with, who was kind of a friend, sent her messages asking for pictures of their last encounter. The way he talked, it seemed like it was recent, and it seemed that they talked often. I was able to get into her phone and laptop, as she didn't change her passwords because she would always ask to check my phone, and I would ask for hers back, so I had the password. There wasn't much because she deleted everything or hid it very well, but the most recent messages, she obviously couldn't delete them, so everything that came after her death was still there. While looking for the pictures he asked for, I found pictures of her and him in a rare file deep in a random place in her work folders on her laptop. In one of them, she had short hair, which she only had right after we got engaged. So she was with him for at least 3 years out of our 6 years together. I also found pictures of 2 other guys, but I have no idea who they are, and there were no messages from either of them anywhere. I messaged the friend and told him that I knew, told him about the STD, and that I wouldn't reveal it to anyone and wanted it to be kept a secret forever. I asked him if anyone else knew, and he said that his ex knew, but he would talk to her. I decided that for the sake of her parents and siblings, I would pretend she was a great person and let them have their beautiful memories of her. Anna's older brother, Thomas, 34M, is a good friend of mine to this day. I would even go as far as to say we are best friends. After 2 years of my wife's passing, I was ready to date again. Thomas said that he knew the perfect girl for me. He just wanted me to be sure I was ready for something serious before introducing us. It was his sister-in-law Laura, 27F. We knew each other only superficially, but never really talked before our first date. I fell for her quickly and hard. We started dating, and about 3 months in, we were already telling each other I love you, and I told her I was going to marry her. It has been a little less than 2 years. We are engaged, and I have never been this happy. I told her all about my relationship with Anna. I still have the evidence of what she did stored away on my computer just in case, and I showed it to Laura. She cried a little and comforted me, but I assured her I was fine and that I was over it. The problem comes with Anna's family, especially her mom and sister. Ever since Anna's passing, every time they talk about her, people want to hear me talk. They ask me about her and try to include me in conversations about her. Anna was such a good cook, right? I loved when she would banter, stuff like this. I was able to get by in the beginning by saying it was difficult for me to talk about her, that I was not ready. They let me be for a while, but ever since I started dating Laura, I couldn't use the I'm not ready excuse. Her friends, sister, and mom get annoyed if I don't sound enthusiastic or depressed. I've learned that it's easier to look depressed. Also, if I talk about Anna in any way that isn't portraying her as an angel who came down to earth to bless us with her presence, I get side-eyed. Thankfully, Thomas and her father are great guys, and don't push me too hard on this. Her dad is always thankful that I attend their family gatherings, as we like to talk about our field of work. He always says he considers me a son. Her mom and sister, though, get pissy if I try to dodge the topic of Anna, and the sister even said out loud once that it's obvious I didn't love Anna. She apologized after, but I mean, she isn't wrong. By the end, I didn't, and I sure as hell don't now. Look, I'm over what happened. I don't feel hate for Anna anymore. I sometimes catch myself wishing she was alive just so I didn't have to pretend anymore, but also because her death was a tragedy. A lot of people loved her. Her friends organize a reunion for her birthday, and those are incredibly hard. And even though I know her AP will be there, I go because I know how much she meant to those people. But this is all starting to get to me because it's affecting Laura. I can't say I love her in front of these people, I can't even hug her, and Anna's sister gets all moody. Her best friend stopped speaking to Laura. They were also friends. Anna's mom even came to us at Thomas's birthday party last week and asked us to stop dancing to respect her grief. She also contacted my mom and Laura's parents to say that she was incredibly disappointed that I proposed to Laura so soon, saying that we are moving too fast. It's been 4 years. Even if she wasn't a cheater, more than enough time has passed. I'm just over it, and I'm seriously considering telling all of them what happened just to get the weight off my back. In an update, OP said the following: "Hello again. Sorry for not replying to most of you. There were too many comments and I wasn't able to respond to many. Thank you so much for caring though. I had used Reddit for advice on a work-related issue in the past and it was helpful. I feel like it came through again. I'm only updating because I received so many messages asking for it, and I hate when I read something and there's no resolution. As I think there is no harm in doing it, here I am. Something I want to add, because I didn't feel it was relevant before, but seeing so many people saying so many mean things about Anna made me feel like it is relevant, just for some people to understand how I feel about her. Maybe it isn't relevant, but I feel like saying it and putting it out there. Anna loved me, she really did. She wasn't some monster who wanted me to be miserable and make me a fool. I saw the way she talked about me to other people. She loved me. She was worried I would divorce her and was talking to people about how to turn our marriage around, how to put it back on track. The issue was that she had a kink, and I absolutely had no desire to partake in it. She asked a couple of times, once early in the relationship and another time after we got married, and I refused unequivocally both times and was particularly judgmental about it. All the pictures I found were of her in those kink scenarios. So yeah, she was sexually frustrated and used those men to satisfy her kink. But she loved me. She was just very selfish, dumb, and reckless. I really believe this. And I say all of this because she was a really terrible wife. She cheated on me for years because of a fucking kink, but she was not a terrible person. She was only a terrible partner. There is a reason so many people loved her so much. I went with my gut feeling of talking to Thomas. It seems like a lot of people came to the same conclusion that this was the best way to deal with this. Laura and I went to his house and we talked to him and his wife, Laura's sister. I told them that I was only bringing this up now because my and Laura's lives are being affected by the way people perceive me as Anna's husband. People want me to be a memory of her life when in reality being reminded that I was married to her feels like a gut punch and I'm at my limit. But I kept on trying because I love her family and I know how much she meant to many people. I told them that I did not love the person she became when she died, that we were probably headed for divorce soon, even without the things I learned. The only reason I didn't share it with anyone was because I didn't see a point in tarnishing her memory and changing people's perception of her when it wouldn't matter to anyone and it would only bring pain to those who loved her. Now though, this decision is biting me in the ass because I also have to act like she was perfect. The reason I told them this way was so they could opt in to knowing more if they wanted, but if they would rather stay ignorant of the situation, they could. Thomas wanted to know everything, so I told them. He asked to see the proof, and I told him that the pictures were sexual and graphic. It was not a good idea for him to see them. He asked his wife to see them. I showed them to her, and she confirmed to him that it was real and they were really bad. She actually flinched looking at them. He asked if it was only one time. I told him it was with 3 different guys, and one of them went on for at least 3 years that I knew of. He was mad, cussed a lot, not at me but at the situation. I started to regret everything at that point. He said, "Fuck, why is she so fucking stupid?" He called Anna stupid a bunch of times. He asked for some time to think things over and went out. I left Laura and her sister talking and also went for a drive. My ex Sil has since reached out and told me that she knew Anna was cheating on me but thought we were working through it. Anna told her about a year before she died and said that she would come clean and try to work on the marriage. Now Thomas has told her what happened and she has apologized a lot. She said that she has been basically ignoring Anna's flaws ever since she died, but it has turned unhealthy for both her and her mom. She said she will help me with anything I need regarding this topic. Ex-Phil and Mill don't know anything and we will keep it that way. I will try to make time to hang out with my Phil from time to time, and considering he and my new Phil are good friends, Thomas and I have been talking about taking them fishing, golfing, or maybe just going to a bar, stuff like that, at least once a month. As for my ex MIL, I'll just keep my interactions to a minimum. So yeah, I think it worked out well. Another thing is that Laura wants to speed up our wedding planning, so hopefully we will get married in March or April. Before, we were talking about having a long engagement, but there is no point in waiting. We both know what we want, and I'm happy, very happy. A user named Jokester said Exil knew his late wife was cheating on him, yet she was her sister's biggest supporter and shamed OP for not loving or grieving her sister enough. Talk about a hypocrite. OP needs to stay away from both ex-SIL and ex-MIL. Under this comment, user the Donkey Forcer said, I'm pretty sure she, just like OP, was hiding that fact to protect everyone else. But even if Anna was a saint, OP didn't deserve to die with her, which was pretty much what they wanted him to do. The sanctifying of deceased people is so annoying and disrespectful to me. When my dad died, my mom and I promised each other to remember him as he was and not turn him into a saint. He was amazing in a lot of ways, but he was also an alcoholic and had other flaws as well. The flaws are what make us human, and true love is being able to love despite flaws. So if we buried them with him, it wouldn't be right. I'm doing the same with my mom. My Reddit is full of awesome mom stories, and those are all true, but she was far from perfect, and I can easily live with both truths. I use her good sides to inspire others to do what she did. She saw her flaws and then she worked on them. I still remember the first family gathering after my dad's death where someone referenced a gathering where he got sunsick / overheated and had to be taken home. I countered with, oh yeah, that time he and uncle shared 2 bottles of liquor and he got so drunk he fell over. Yeah, I remember that. I think that kind of set them straight about how I wanted them to deal with his memory. He truly was amazing in a lot of ways, and his flaws can coexist without turning him into a villain or a bad person. This next post was made in the same subreddit by a throwaway account. The post is titled, I refuse to drop charges in exchange for saving my family. I, 33M, met my wife, 33F, in college. It started as a long-term physical relationship that turned serious at the end of our senior year. After graduation, I didn't have plans, so I decided to move to her hometown, a major southern city. I didn't know anybody, so we were together 24/7 and moved in together within a year. During this time, I met her family a few times. She has a huge extended family, with her mom, Sharon, as the matriarch. Her dad died in a workplace accident, and her mom received a lot of money. She was smart, invested well, and is doing fine. All of Sharon's siblings and nieces and nephews look to her for advice on all major life decisions. She's paid for school, weddings, and helped start businesses. My wife has 2 brothers I always got along with. We would hang out independently of my wife a few times a year. We got married after 3 years, and when my son was born, Sharon bought us a house 3 blocks from hers. We had lived in a downtown loft-style apartment, and this was honestly a relief. But with the house came Sharon constantly being in my life, coming in unannounced, giving unsolicited advice, and making snide remarks at my expense. Eventually, 18 months later, we had a blow-up fight, and I moved my family across town to an apartment. My wife was pissed, and our relationship has deteriorated. Sharon hates me and has turned most of their family against me. I didn't see or go to any of her family events for over a year. My wife still saw her family, but because I wasn't invited and they were over 30 minutes away, it was much less frequent. Sharon went from seeing her grandson almost every day to once a month, so her hate for me went through the roof. My wife had to work, and I was asked to take my son to his cousin's birthday party. The party was at Sharon's house, and if it hadn't been my son's first cousin, they're 6 months apart, I would have said no. It was tense the moment I walked in. The father of the birthday boy, my brother-in-law, greeted me, but no one else spoke to me. I didn't mind and sat in the corner on my phone. This apparently pissed off Sharon because she thought I was being rude. An argument ensued, and I announced I was leaving with my son. Sharon said, "You can go, but my grandbaby is staying." At this point, I lost my cool and started cursing her out. I woke up on the front lawn. Apparently, my two brothers-in-law beat the shit out of me in front of my kid. Two of her cousins were helping me up and told me just to leave. I immediately called the police and reported that I was assaulted and my child was kidnapped. The police came and both brothers were arrested. Sharon lost her shit on the police and my wife drove up as her mother was being arrested for refusing to release my son. Her mom was eventually released, but her brothers were arraigned on assault charges. The father of the birthday boy had an assault charge from college, so he is facing some serious consequences. My wife is mad at everyone but asked me to drop the charges. I not only refused, but got restraining orders for all three of them. Her mother isn't allowed to be near our kid, and her brothers have court dates early next year. Last month, she moved out of the house and we are now headed for divorce. Yesterday, she came with one last offer for us to move cities and start over, but only if I drop the charges against her brothers and remove the restraining order on her mom. I told her I would think about it, but I think I would rather get divorced. I honestly want to keep my family, but I don't believe she'll ever abandon her family for me. If I drop the charges now, I doubt I can bring them back later. Edit. This blew up overnight. My wife's cousin messaged me because she found this post. She was there that day and told me to add some more context because her family is getting railed in the comments. She's right, so here are a few more things. I don't think anyone is evil in this situation. Everyone loves Sharon and her advice except me. She's not a mean person, but we are polar opposites in many ways. My wife is the baby and only girl, so I'm sure that has a lot to do with our conflict. Sharon losing her shit on the police was uncharacteristic, and even I was surprised. My wife is a great mom and partner, but her inability to be independent of her mom's influence is our issue. She is mad at her brothers and isn't talking to either of them. She's also mad at her mom for starting the argument and refusing to release our son. She's just trying to find a middle ground. I genuinely think she hopes a fresh start can save our marriage. Until we moved into that house, I would say our relationship was good. As far as her brothers and the assault, I remember the first hit, but I was dazed immediately. The last thing I remember was flailing like a child while getting hit a few more times. What I don't remember is my kid screaming, "Stop hitting my daddy," and them picking me up and dropping me on the lawn like trash. I have to acknowledge that my pride hurt more than my bruises. I genuinely liked both her brothers, and to be fair, "fuck you" and "bitch" came out of my mouth when I cursed out Sharon. I'm not 100% innocent. This is the South, so the police even said, "What did you expect to happen?" I don't know if by stopping pursuing this it would continue or not. In an update, OP said the following: "Hello, let me start by saying thank you to the supporters and fuck you to the assholes. Reddit is one hell of a place to get perspective on things. The only place you could be called both a good father and a cuck in the same thread. I've been wanting to write an update and answer questions for a while, but after my original post, many Reddit lawyers reached out and told me to stop talking immediately. Since things were very uncertain and my divorce wasn't settled, I decided not to respond or update anything until things calmed down. A lot has happened to so many people involved, so I think I'm just going to break it down by person. Me. I moved back to the West Coast where I am originally from. I decided to move forward with the divorce, so I moved home. Furthermore, I had nothing left for me in that city as I only had a few friends, my son, and a lot of bad memories. My ex and son cried a lot the day I left, and that hurt my soul, but it was best for all parties involved. So I moved back home to be around my family and my support system. I got a good paying job and I'll be subletting a 2-bedroom apartment starting next month. My son spent the holidays with me, staying with my parents, and I plan to see him on Easter. Going forward, and as laid out in our custody agreement, my son will stay with his mother until he is 12. I'll get him for Easter and summers, and we'll switch Christmas and Thanksgiving every year. When he's 12 and needs a father figure, he'll come live with me until he is 18. I talk to my son every day on the phone for at least an hour, and I'll try to fly out there a few times a year. I can't shake the feeling that a piece of me is missing, and I wish it was just my son, but I miss my wife too, my ex-wife. So the divorce is basically settled, and I obviously didn't move away with her. In the end, she saw my post and the comments and realized that she shouldn't have asked me to stop pursuing the case. She asked again, saying we could move and just get away from her family. Too much had happened and our relationship was a shell of what it was. We both said and did things we forgave but can't forget. I wish this was a movie and I could just say love conquers all or fuck her, she is evil, but that isn't real life. I'm torn between both loving this person and knowing we aren't right for each other. While she didn't want to move forward with the divorce, she didn't fight me on it either. We were able to settle everything without lawyers and only use them for paperwork and fine details. We talk daily because of our son, and she says she is doing well, but the last time I FaceTimed her, I could tell she isn't eating. My sister said it's post-breakup hotness, whatever that means, but she looks more sick than hot. She hasn't spoken to her brothers since that day and blames them for a lot of what happened. She and Sharon's relationship is also very strained and they barely talk as well. Ironically, she is hardly speaking to the family she was so desperately trying to keep together. I honestly wish she would talk to her family again because I worry about her a lot. People were very mean to my ex-wife, saying she was a terrible mother and wife. I think she lives for and would die for her family, and all her actions were to keep us together. She told me her two biggest regrets were moving into Sharon's house and moving out of our apartment. Those two actions caused most of our problems. She is a great mother to my child, and I will always have her back. The brothers. I didn't expect much as far as punishment in this case. They both pled out to simple assault, which only had minimal consequences. Both brothers spent a night in jail, got fines, and anger management. The older brother had a prior incident that I mentioned in the earlier post. It was a bar fight when he was younger, and he hit a guy with a bottle and got an assault charge. Since that case was over 15 years ago and he's married and a pillar of the community, he was given probation for a year, and that was the end. Both brothers have partners in life, and the oldest one is married. I've known his wife for many years, and we've always been friendly. Because of the restraining order, both spouses reached out on behalf of the brothers to speak to me. I barely knew the younger brother's girlfriend, but since I knew the wife, I spoke to her. She said both brothers regretted their decision, and she asked me to lift the restraining order and not pursue charges. We had a brief conversation, but I simply told her I don't forgive her husband and brother-in-law, and I'm moving forward with both. As we ended the conversation, I told her not to call me again, and I haven't heard from either brother since. I don't know anything beyond what the ex tells me, and she isn't speaking to them. Sharon. So I did have it out with Sharon, and it went about as well as you can imagine. Here is a little backstory to our relationship. Let's start by saying my ex and her family are devout Christians who go to church weekly. I'm a lapsed Catholic who goes to church 3 times a year. I live a very moral and ethical life, but my belief system isn't centered on the church. Furthermore, I consider myself a moderate liberal and their family is moderate conservative, i.e., I'm down with the Second Amendment and Sharon supported gay marriage. Ideologically, we were far apart but agreed on the important things in life. The real problems began when my son was going to be baptized. My mom wanted to get our son baptized Catholic and Sharon wanted him baptized Protestant. Lots of snide remarks about Catholics were made, but I let it go at the time. The ex and I decided to wait and let our son decide, which Sharon hated. When my ex started going back to church and I wasn't in attendance, that further widened the divide. Her family would go by Sharon or someone else's house after church for lunch or dinner, and I either showed up later or not at all. Every time Sharon didn't agree with a decision we made as a couple regarding our lives, especially my son's life, she would start leaning on my wife and pressuring her behind the scenes. We would literally make a decision and she would go to her mom's house and then come back with a different opinion. The most frustrating part is she stopped trying to talk to me at all. She would literally just call my wife and get her to change her decision. The big fight that led to us moving out was that my son wanted to play soccer and not football, but my wife's family is a huge football family. We agreed for him not to play football because he didn't want to play and because of our concerns about CTE. My wife came home one day and did a 180, saying that she signed him up for football. We started arguing and Sharon came in the house unannounced and joined the conversation, saying we decided it would be good for him. I got pissed and told them Sharon is not my son's parent and my ex shouldn't be so weak when her mom is pressuring her to do something we decided not to do. Then she said the words that sealed the deal. My opinion should matter, I bought the house. I started looking for a new apartment that night and never looked back. So when we talked, neither of us raised our voices, but it wasn't a nice conversation. I started and apologized for calling her a bitch, and she apologized for trying to keep my son without my permission. She flat out told me she wished her daughter never met me and that I've ruined her family, that her sons have criminal records now, one already did, and it's all my fault. She then started crying about not seeing my son and how she lost her only daughter. I told her she was manipulative and used her money to control the family, that she only didn't like me because she couldn't control my decisions like her weak-willed family. I also told her she consistently overstepped her bounds regarding my child and marriage, and she put her own selfish interest ahead of her daughter's happiness. After spending an hour calling each other assholes in different ways, we ended things in the same place. In the end, I told my ex her mom could see my son because Sharon loves him unconditionally and he loves her. Call me stupid, but I think family is a big part of your upbringing. My mom isn't around him enough and every child needs a good grandma. The ex said she has been to a few family situations that were hard to avoid. Wedding, funeral, Thanksgiving, but she leaves when her brothers come and my son doesn't leave her side. Sharon has seen my son and he has played with his cousin, the birthday boy from the original story, but she's keeping him from the family for the time being. My son. He's having a hard time with everything. It's not the fight. He thinks we were wrestling. He misses me a lot and cries on some of our phone calls. He's in therapy and all the sessions are about missing his dad and why we can't live together. It's been a few months and it's slowly getting better, but we ruined his childhood and I take my share of responsibility in that. In the end, everyone in their family read the original post, but because of the divorce and assault cases, no one directly contacted me other than my ex. It wasn't a hit to say the least, but I only care that it hurt my ex's feelings. I think seeing everything written out from my perspective opened her eyes. Obviously, some things were left out and broad strokes were made to explain complex situations. In the end, she said I didn't lie, but she thinks I painted her family in a horrible light. We thought about writing a joint update, but we aren't talking enough to make that happen. I told my ex about this post and asked if she wanted to read it before I posted, and she told me to write whatever I want. Nobody won here. We all lost. I'll try and respond to questions I think are relevant. Edit, I was trying to respond to people's comments, but the majority are saying the same thing. I'm a jerk who abandoned his son, and Sharon won. Trust me, I get it, but I don't agree. I've tried to be honest in all of this, and all I can say is that life isn't black and white. I made the decision I think is best for my family. I don't think I abandoned my son, and I trust my ex. We are doing our best in a shitty situation. A user named Ally Marie said that custody arrangement is so weird and ridiculous. What do they expect? That the kid is going to be fine uprooting his entire life and starting to live with the parent he's barely seen while leaving the one he spent every day with. This is going to cause far more problems than it solves. Under this comment, another user named Thieving Willow said, guaranteed they did this mostly without lawyers, his words, because Sharon is playing the long game. She knows that even if dad still wants the kid at 12, she's probably betting on him getting remarried and drifting away. All she needs is to have her daughter tell the judge that dad abandoned him, and he'll never see the child again. If by some luck he does, the boy will probably hate him or, maybe even worse, have very little idea who he even is. It's hard to know whether he's foolish enough not to see this coming, or if he has washed his hands of it and mostly doesn't care. And there's a decent chance that at some point OP will make a performative fuss over how courts always favor the mother, when he in fact agreed to this scenario in which he misses all his child's formative years, apparently without even trying to get a different arrangement via the court. Then another account that was deleted said Sharon is absolutely playing the long game. She has a lot of money based on the story, and she is going to use every single cent to keep OP's son where he is now. Which, to be honest, is the right choice. Uprooting him at 12 to move across the country to live with a parent he's barely spent time with over the past several years is not going to go well. Removing him from the parent he will have spent day in and day out with for several years would be massively disruptive. OP is going to get destroyed in court when he tries to enforce this. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, Gamersupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.